Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global TV. Live in the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Queen Agaba. The Senate has increased the 2024 budget by a total of 1.2 trillion naira, moving the budget from 27.5 trillion naira to 28.7 trillion naira. According to the report submitted by the Appropriation Committee led by Senator Solomon Adiola, aggregate expenditure was pegged at 28,770,404,073,861 naira. Statutory transfers 1,742,786,788,150 naira. And recurrent expenditure 8,768,533,852 naira. With capital expenditure 9,995,143,298 naira 28 kobo, and GDP at 3.88%. President Bola Tinubu on November 29th presented a total of 27.5 trillion naira budget proposal to a joint session of the National Assembly. The president pegged the budget deficit for the 2024 fiscal year at 9.18 trillion. Gunmen were said to have again killed 3 youths in a fresh attack which occurred in Bokos local government area of Plateau State on Saturday. This is just as a former governor of the state, Jonah Jang, condemned what he described as the continued attacks and killings of innocent citizens in Plateau communities by gunmen. Jonah has called on the presidency and the National Assembly to consider the establishment of state police as part of efforts to flush out insecurity in the state. Amid Jang's condemnation following the invasion of 25 communities in Barkin Ladi, Bokos and Mango communities by gunmen, which left over 150 persons dead on Christmas Eve, the gunmen have again killed 3 youths in a fresh attack. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in 2023 presidential election, President Peter Obi, has donated the sum of 10 million naira to the victims of the Christmas Eve attacks in Bokos and Barkin Ladi local government areas of Plateau State. Obi announced the donation when he visited the internally displaced persons camp in Bokos local government area on Saturday. While addressing the victims at the Church of Christ Nation, Kokim, Bokos, Obi said he was saddened visiting Plateau again to condole people suffering from attacks by gunmen. Obi further stated that the humanitarian challenges occasioned by these attacks are too huge to be left alone for the government, and so he called on other Nigerians and corporate organizations to come to the aid of these victims. He urged Nigerians to show love and go beyond empathizing with the victims, but support them with foods and clothing while in IDPs, further calling on the federal government to deal with these issues of gunmen across the country, while he encouraged the victims and the entire Plateau people to forgive their attackers and allow God revenge on their behalf. Similarly, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the last general elections, Peter Obi, and his running mate, Dati Ahmed, have paid a condolence visit to the family of late Speaker Gali Umar Naaba in Kano State. The duo were at Naaba's residence about 1 p.m. on Saturday in company with other politicians and party members. Speaking shortly after praying with the family members, Obi said the deceased was one of those Nigerians that cared about unity and progress of the country. He has always been consistent in it, according to him. Those who always think about the progress of people have no legacy other than that, and that is why he has come to condole and show solidarity with the family at this hour and the good people of Kano and Nigerians in general. He prayed for God to grant the soul of the departed eternal rest. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has called for collective efforts to solve the security challenges facing the country. The governor, who stated this while launching the 2024 Armed Forces Remembrance Day at the Executive Chamber of the Governor's Office Secretariat at Agodi Ibadan, noted that the government alone could not solve all the problems. Makinde said his administration will continue to collaborate with the security agencies in addressing various security challenges in the state. The governor equally appreciated the Nigerian Legion members for their past and current efforts, saying that his government will continue to support the welfare of serving and retired soldiers. And the Bayelsa State government on Saturday has invited the parents of a 4-year-old girl and a 54-year-old man allegedly involved in a marriage in the Akede community in Sagbama local government area of the state. The government's intervention is coming on the heels of media reports of a December 26th marriage between the bride and a 54-year-old man. The statement is jointly signed by Dr. Dise Ogbise Godi, Chairman, Gender Response Initiative Team, Bayelsa, and Paniebi Jacob, Director of Child Development in the Ministry of Women Affairs, Children and Social Development. The state government, which frowned at the development, also expressed concerns over the illegal marriage based on tradition and customs, saying it was repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience. Meanwhile, Governor Sheriff Oborewori of Delta State has approved 15 hectares of land as a takeoff site for the Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, Kwale Ndoko West local government area. Oborewori, who stated this when he received leaders and stakeholders of the Ndokwa Nation at Government House Asaba, said the university would open up more developments in Kwale and its environs. The governor noted that because he was focused on the development of all parts of the state, he had deliberately avoided citing any project in his Osubi community. He thanked the Ndokwa and Anioma Nation for their support of his administration and during his mother-in-law's funeral, assuring that he would continue to provide equitable leadership for all Deltans. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, on the recommendation of the Advisory Council on the Prerogative of Mercy, has approved the release of 246 inmates from various correctional facilities across the state. This information is contained in a statement that can be found on the official X handle of the Lagos State Government. The governor signed the release of the 246 inmates on December 20th, 2023, under the provision of Section 212, Subsection 1, Subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. The Lagos State Government maintained that the approval for the release of the inmates is in cognizance of the New Year celebrations, as well as in line with the commitment of Governor Sanwo-Olu to decongest correctional facilities in Lagos State as part of the justice sector reforms. National Parent Teachers Association of Nigeria, NAPTEN, has called for collaboration between academic unions and tertiary institutions and the federal government to improve the nation's quality of education in 2024. It also described the insecurity being witnessed in parts of the country as a major challenge affecting the sector. Ogubanjo said the education sector in the outgoing year had done well, but called for room for improvement. He says that could be achieved if the unions and government would work together. The military, during various operations across the country in 2023, killed a total of 6,886 terrorists and other criminal elements. Also, a total of 6,970 suspects were arrested and 4,488 kidnapped citizens were rescued across the country. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Buba Edward, disclosed this in Abuja on Friday while briefing journalists on the activities of the troops across the country in 2023. He noted that the efforts of the troops in the year led to the recovery of 100 million liters of stolen crude oil and 60 million liters of diesel. Buba said during the period, troops neutralized 6,886 terrorists and other criminal elements. Troops also arrested 6,970 suspects, rescued 4,488 kidnapped hostages, as well as recovered 3,320 assorted weapons and 39,075 assorted ammunition. Giving an analysis of the threats witnessed in 2023, Buba noted that banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, oil theft, sectionist agitations, and farmers' herders clashes were top the list. You're watching the News Prime live in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. When News Prime returns, rice remains restricted despite lifting of forex ban, says Custom. The news continues shortly with details of this and more stories right after this break. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. This is Global Television, bringing you live broadcast of the News Prime. On the foreign scene, the Health Ministry in Hamas-run Gaza on Saturday said at least 21,672 people have been killed in the Palestinian territory since war with Israel erupted on October 7th. A ministry statement says 165 Gazans were killed over the past 24 hours, while 56,165 others have been wounded in the fighting. The majority of casualties are civilians and 312 healthcare workers are among the dead. Israeli forces have rounded up thousands of Gazans during their ground offensive, with 99 healthcare workers still among the detainees, according to the ministry. Health officials reported that detainees have been subjected to cruel physical and psychological torture, starvation, thirst, sleep deprivation, and continuous interrogation in extreme cold. Gaza's health ministry appealed Saturday to the international community for more support, including greater assistance in evacuating more patients. The fighting has put 23 hospitals and 53 health centers out of service, while 104 ambulances have been destroyed, says the ministry. China has expelled 9 military officials from its parliament, including 4 generals of the Army's Strategic Missile Unit, in a sweeping reshuffle following the appointment of a new defense minister. The decision, announced late on Friday, came after a meeting of the Central Committee of the ruling Communist Party. The removal is one of a series of high-level restructuring moves in the military establishment since Defense Minister Li Shangfu was abruptly sacked in October following months of speculation about his whereabouts. Appointed in March, Li disappeared from public view in August before being formally dismissed in October. The 9 officials fired on Friday from the National People's Congress sat in Parliament as non-elected representatives. In business, revenue expectation from all exports, which government expects to deploy for effective implementation of the 2024 budget, may be affected as major global oil traders are moving away from petrodollar transactions. In 2024, In the 2024 budget proposal, the federal government has considered conservative oil price benchmark of $77.96 per barrel and a daily oil production estimate of 1.78 million barrels per day after a careful review of global oil market trends, and that a naira to US dollar exchange rate of 750 naira per US dollar was adopted for 2024 as well. However, report shows that a fifth of global oil trade this year was settled in currencies different from the US dollar, as countries such as Russia and China move away from the petrodollar. Nigeria is pushing to reach and exceed the 2024 crude oil production budget target of 1.7 million barrels per day. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Heineken Lokbobiri said that the country can boast crude oil production to 2 million barrels per day. And the federal government on Friday received a $2.25 billion foreign exchange support facility from the African Import-Export Bank. The Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, said it is the first tranche of the $3.3 billion facility from the bank. He noted that the loan was aimed at resolving the acute FX shortage that has hampered the economy. Edu stated that work has commenced for solutions to Nigeria's economic challenges. In August, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited announced that it had secured a $3 billion emergency loan from the Afrexim Bank to stabilize the country's volatile foreign exchange market. According to reports, the balance of $1.5 billion will be received in the first week of January. And despite the skyrocketing cost of rice and the recent hold on the ban of foreign exchange for its imports, the crop is still a restricted commodity. The Nigerian Customs Service has declared that rice, a staple food widely consumed in Nigeria, has been rising in price despite its production locally. The commodity now sells for between 55,000 and 60,000 naira for a 50 kg bag, depending on the area of purchase. Its price was around 30,000 naira for the same 50 kg bag about a year ago, but the cost has maintained a northward drive despite the local production of rice and the recent lifting of the ban on forex for the importation of rice into Nigeria. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission on Friday said it approved tax holidays for 34 companies seeking tax incentives and waivers under the Industrial Development Income Tax Act in 2023. This was disclosed by the head of Incentives Administration, Lovina Kayode, during an end-of-the-year press briefing organized by the Commission in Abuja. She said tax incentives, which has been a contentious issue due to the high amount of revenue lost to waivers granted every year, were meant to boost foreign investments into the country. In sports, Cole Palmer struck twice as Chelsea survived a late scare to banish their away Blues with a 3-2 win against Premier League strugglers Luton on Saturday. Mauricio Pochettino's side were in complete control when Palmer scored his second goal to put the visitors 3 up with 20 minutes to play. Palmer had opened the scoring at Kenny Watts Road before Noni Madueke doubled Chelsea's lead late in the first half, but former Chelsea midfielder Ross Barkley netted to spark a spirited finish from third-bottom Luton, who scored again through Elijah Adebayo in a dramatic finale. Chelsea's second consecutive win was their first success away from home since a victory at Tottenham on November 6, ending a 4-game losing streak on their travels. Real Madrid manager Carlo Ancelotti has signed a new deal with the club, which will run until June 2026. The Italian 64 was appointed at the Bernabeu for a second time in 2021 on an initial 3-year deal. He was linked with taking over as Brazil's manager earlier this year, but said he wanted to remain at the club. Ancelotti has won 10 titles as real boss, including 2 Champions League, most recently in his first season back at the club in 2021 to 2022. He has also lifted 1 La Liga title, 2 Copas del Rey, 2 Club World Cups, 2 European Super Cups, and the Spanish Super Cup once. The real manager is the only coach to have won 4 European Cups, while he is also the first to win in all 5 major European leagues in Italy, England, France, Germany, and Spain. And that's it on the news cycle, the news prime, I beg your pardon. And it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.